Welcome, 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 welcome. Let's begin. And I want to begin with a prayer and set an intention for this. This is a project that the main purpose is that it help us all to connect with your own guidance in a way that it is practical and it's easy, and that you can also use it for other persons if it's something that you would like to explore. The cards are in groups, and I'm going to be upgrading the Google document. My love language is being upgraded, and sometimes I forgot how to speak. I think I want to speak in my language all the time. So bear with me if I misspell or anything, but I will write anything on the Google document that you have, and anything, please let me know. This is the cards that I purchased. Give me a moment. You guys will have the white ones or the black ones. It will depend on, okay, I did this for myself. It will depend on the color that you would like to work. It doesn't matter. You guys can use any materials that you feel guided. The first time that I started, I purchased everything: crayons, watercolors, oils, markers, and I explored, and then I was more comfortable with watercolors, and then I changed it to acrylics, and then I changed it to digital. But what I love the most of all, it's acrylics. But that will depend on what is available for you and what would you like to. Why I recommend you guys to use acrylics? I recommend you guys to use acrylics because it's easy to get dry, and it's easy to use it in a type of a marker. Like, for example, purchase different brands to see which is the brand that you feel more comfortable. Sharpies have a very good quality, and you guys could use it especially on the white ones. Oh, they have some that are metallics. They have some that have glitter on it, that have color, that are very good to use. If you would like to go more professional, you can look into a store, craft store in your place, and go for it. At the end, I don't have it here, but at the end, when you finish, get a protector seal. You can use the glossy or the, I don't know how to pronounce that in English. I'm gonna say it and hopefully you guys understand it. The matte one. It will depend on your style. I like the glossy one. The more layers you apply, the more thick it's going to be and the more protected. And I will put you guys on mute if that's okay. Let's begin. I'm nervous. I have wanted to do this for a long time. So let's just breathe first, and then we're going to go with the flow. Below the higher self, please take command. Let's ask for the highest, easiest, and the most loving for the class that we are going to start today. Let's talk about the basics of light language that it is this class. And if you would like us to have a group, someone can message me if someone can help me to put a group in Telegram or something. If you guys have questions about what this material, or I have question with, I will add information on your Google Drive about the frequency of Arcturus, why we have a card that says night, why we have a card that says Cupid, angels, and all of that. And you guys can also add information. If you think what I posted it's wrong, or that's okay. The idea is that we can all learn together without judgment and help each other on these. And oh my god, I'm so excited. Let's begin. What is light language, guys? I wrote this on the I'm reading a book about Annie Besant that I will add into the bibliography, the resources that you can get if you would like to have more knowledge. She has helped me a lot, because one thing is that you see, and another thing is that you understand what you are seeing. And I think this is where sometimes psychics could not be that accurate. We have thought forms. Thought forms are emanations of energy. It could be negative or positive, that emanate from our mindset. The mindset, it is the device in which your programming, that is a bunch of thought forms, will be a stream. But also everything, it is a stream in a thought form. So for me, for example, in the morning, I have my third eye fully open. I don't open my eyes, and I see things in this way. All dark, and then lights will form patterns. So as I do my prayer, I see that the energy is shifting. And then I always ask, what is the code of the day? This is a code that I have been constantly downloading, being shown up, because I think it represents that I am in expansion and I am connected, right? I am, and then it's like a pupil of an eye, kind of like me seeing myself from another perspective, and then connecting with all of the aspects of me. There are certain codes that have been already established by a collective agreement, like runes, like psychogeometry, like, for example, the Hebrew letters are sacred word. You guys can practice by Googling an abecedary for Hebrew. Every letter, it is a position of our body. This is something that you can also use. You can put yoga positions, and then, for example, when you do the greeting to the sun, when you do the dolphin pose or anything, how that code will be. The code represents sometimes how our energy is the right position to have that. And also it's how the energy flowed through you. For example, you know that princesses are normally associated with the moon, right? Symbols are metaphors. Those are not meant to be understood literally. You'll have to see beyond. In my vision, I was seeing a video of Salma Hayek, and she was with Nicole Kidman on the feed. And then she had a type of bow, and the bow had a type of horns. And then I was looking at it, I said, what is that? Is that horns? And then when I look at my third eye open, and then I saw through the video that through the bow that had horns on it, the energy was having a type of flow as if it was a cascade of light, kind of like that. And then I said, like, oh my God, this is why goddesses and princesses, they always add the moon. Isn't horns like evil? It's just you're creating a container to receive information, to receive what you are downloading from the source. So that was my interpretation. You will learn to interpret what you see, and you have the capacity to change the codes. These are just a base. And maybe you want to say, I think Cupid should have a heart in the center. And feel free to do that, because this is what light language is. Light language is not a pattern that it is established. It is what serves you in the moment. And then that pattern will change when you interact with your client or in another day, because you evolve. And the codes will evolve with you. So give yourself the opportunity that maybe you can make them blank, and then later on you want to add color on it. Or maybe you want to do another different deck. But if you want to practice and develop, I add a PDF of practices that you can rewrite, that you can do runes, for example, just to practice. You can do Hebrew letters just to practice, and you can use yoga poses or abecedaries, like for example the Sumerian abecedary or the Mayan abecedary, if you want to practice, right? I suggest that you purchase more decks than the ones we're going to do, just for you to develop, because you will be reprogramming yourself. It is scientifically proved by neuroscience. I don't remember the name of the neuroscience, but I think her name is Caroline Leaf. You guys can Google it. Leaf, like the ones from the tree. She said that these generations have lost the capacity to re-upgrade themselves because they don't read anymore and they are just scrolling up. Because when you read and you use the right, you will reprogram your brain by entering into an alpha state. And whatever you are writing, I don't know if you guys had it, but I remember that when I was being grounded, my mom made me write like, I'm gonna behave, I'm gonna behave, I'm gonna behave, I'm gonna behave. So when you do those things, even if you're writing letters, you are actually downloading that and reprogramming that through your nervous system, through the physicality of your body. The third form will anchor through your body by having an action that supports that holographic pattern. And this is why I think this is important. You guys can imagine a code and it's real. Like for example, if you know Reiki and you do the chakra, that is the code that it is. Let me draw it right here for you guys. Okay, no, I'm gonna use this one. For example, if I'm right, this is the chakra code, right? The code that you use to open a portal or to close when you do a healing. In Reiki, when you project it, then that pattern will go into my plant, my cat, my body, my client, my house. It's the same with codes, right? The different it is, if you just project it according to the awareness that you have, it will be the capacity to be real in the physical. If you're not aware, if you're not strong in your focus, then that code will fade and then it may not be real. And then you have to do over and over again. This is why we have affirmations. And when you combine affirmations with code, it's super, super, super powerful. But maybe you will have to do it over and over and over and over because your focus is not that strong, so that can be instantly materialized. And what happens when our focus is super strong or maybe weak? We will, every time you want to manifest something, you will create conditions that are opposite so you can overcome that. Let's say, maybe I want to say, I want to increase my income by the double, right? Whatever I earn, let's say that I earn $50,000, and then you say, I want now and earn $100,000 per year. When I throw out my intention, there will be a holographic pattern. You will also have conditions that are opposite because this is duality, and it's not opposite to your intention because the universe doesn't want you. It is because it's the pathway for you to develop the structure so you can manifest that. So maybe for me, if I say that affirmations, I want to have an income of $100,000 per year, but if I keep doing the same habits, then most likely that affirmation won't be manifested because you have to have coherence on your energy. The energy has to be coherence with what you do, what you feel, what you think, but most importantly, with what it is around you. Now that Pluto went back to Capricorn for 5 weeks, and then we'll go back to Aquarius, the collective energy will be stronger than the individual energy. So what will be most likely manifesting is all the conditions that are inducing for that intention to be manifested. For example, let's say that I want to say it. I want to manifest my twin flame love, the one that is meant for me. But if that it is an intention that my kids and my family and my twin flame and his family and my city and you, because you are also my family, if you all agree, then that can be manifested. If the collective that surrounds me do not agree with my intention, then I'll be constantly creating contrast to manifest that, because the collective says no, or not yet, or no in that way. So this is what codes do and why I think it's super powerful. And I would love for all of you guys to use it, because when you use a code, for example, this is a connection code with the word night, and then it has the number 51 on top. The code bypass the mind, bypass what you think you know, what you don't know, you know. And it is a more powerful intention when you add your intention with the code than if you don't do it, because the code will anchor that in the reality, but also through all layers of your being. In one of my dreams with an angels gave me this code. I was in a workshop with an angel. I posted about that, maybe you guys read it. And this is the code that the angel gave me. So the angel was saying, we needed to write the code 7 times with our intention, because he said, when humans want to manifest something with a code, they are just doing it at the layer of a reality. But reality will have 7 layers of alchemy. So when you repeat your intention with your code 7 times, you're anchoring that intention into all of the levels of alchemy until it reaches the level of creator. Therefore, it will be easier for your intention to get manifested and your wish come true. This is why I call the code wish come true. And my wish was granted. Hopefully you guys can use it and manifest what you want to. In my dream, we're doing it with like Asian brushes. And we were saying like, it was like I invoke the angels to grant my wish, and then we're saying our wish, or we're doing 7 times. Let's go back to the basics of light language. And maybe you guys already know this, but just be open to see if you expand what you already know. We're energy. All is energy. The food, what you do, what you feel, what you know, what you don't know, everything will have a value, like a numeric value. So all of that energy, we all know that will function in rules of physics. Those rules of physics, it is how the energy function in this area of the universe, because there are other places with different rules that do not apply for us, that we're not there, but we will there if we choose to have experience there. For example, the law of attraction, the law of reciprocity, we all know about that. Now, if I know that I am energy and you're energy, and my energy will form a pattern and a flow and will have a way to emanate, what if I know the rules of my energy so I can be in charge of my destiny and what I want to create with the energy that has been assigned to me? That is your power, and that is my power, and this is why we are here. We're here to remember we are God. We're here to remember we're in charge of our experience, and we are our own ancestor. We are in the age, in the timeline, in the transformation of earth, that we can choose the destiny we want if we are aware of it. This is why this is called also awakening. I awake to who I am. I awake to what it is. I am awake of the true nature of what I am, but also what I can do to make my reality better. going back again, if everything is energy, and I already feel the guys, if everything is energy, and energy will move and engage, and if I know the rules about that, then that will make my life easier. For me, life isn't easy for everyone, but it can be easier when you sort of know what you're going through. For example, maybe imagine that you have to resolve something of algebra, like when you were in school. It's not the same if you had the math book or the formulas or a calculator that if you don't have anything. Having your intuition strong and accurate is like having a GPS or ChatGPT or a calculator that will make easier your life. And exercising with the codes would help you with that. It's not the same that you purchase a deck that someone else's did, that someone else's channel, that you create your own according to your needs, according to what works for you, according to what you understand, and according to what it's easy and available for you to create in your own reality. So I would love for you that in the next step, whether we do another course and you do it for yourself, that you can do your own codes from your own channel by becoming your own oracle. Now, going back to the fact that we're energy and energy will function. Let me explain you guys what I see when I see energy, because sometimes what people say online, it doesn't explain what at the basics the energy revealed to me. Energy will have harmony or disharmony. It's not about good or bad, because energy is immortal. It doesn't have personality. It becomes anything that it is predominantly in that space. For example, it's like water, absent of color, absent of taste. But if you add sugar in fruit, it's a juice. If you put change the temperature, maybe it will become ice, right? It just transforms into whatever conditions are around. This is how energy is. So the energy normally, even if it's harmony or disharmony, when it is disharmony is because the intention is not supported by the conditions around. So that will create a conflict, that create a crashing, but that crashing will have the effect of expansion. So it's a positive thing. For example, imagine if I am, what will that be in a real world? Well, maybe what if I enter a Christian church, like I haven't invited before because I have Christian family. And if I don't believe, if my belief says that is wrong, that could be a conflict. And I will have two things. Or I do whatever they do and change my belief, or I will try to change all of them to do what I want to do. Imagine that if I, and this is why going against the current, it doesn't work always. Some people have the power to change the collectives, but for that, your aura has to be super strong. So even criminals and sociopaths have super strong and powerful auras. Like, for example, now that they have owned the Puff Daddy with the pedophile thing in Hollywood stuff, like if you take the numerology of Puff Daddy, it's a 22, so it's a master. But it's a master that is not in harmony, it's not in its light, is a master in its own darkness. So it's a person that will move persons to do things because it has that capacity to influence. The difference it is not using it for the light, it's using it for the dark, right? So it's the same rules that will apply into whatever part of the spectrum between the shadow or the light you are. Going back to the energy. So we said that energy, it is harmony or disharmony, and we'll have a pattern. If it's just harmony, maybe it is a code. Maybe, for example, it's the NASA symbol, right? It's a symbol, it's a code. But it's a code for control, it's a code for oppression, it's a code that represents a lot of pain for a lot of people. So everything in the world will be a code. Money will be a code. I know that, for example, pedophiles and persons, they will have certain codes to do, certain words or symbols or things, like maybe you guys have seen online that Illuminati or the Cabal or whatever will have certain codes, like Masons, for example, they had codes too. And maybe in everything, like Masons, you have good people and you have bad people that will use the same rules for the great good or to do damage. Doing a card reading is sacred. You can mess up with the life of someone. If you are not rightful, it's better not to do it. This is, sometimes we take it lightly because this time it's so expanded that sometimes that expansion diminishes the power of things. But doing a tarot reading, this is an oracle. You open a portal, you will have wisdom for the light or for the dark, depending on the harmony or disharmony that you have. So you want to prepare for it, you want to honor. For me, every day I put some incense or candle. I create little habits with codes, of course, because I'm Gretel, that help me to bless what I do. Every pose I do, I said, may this go into whatever it should be, that is in harmony with all that I am. Then if someone critiques me, then so be it. That was what it was in divine order. Normally I don't have hate, but it's not about having likes or don't having likes. It's about being in synchronicity. It's about being into what serves the highest outcome for all. So going back to the energy, we have harmony and disharmony. Whether you have harmony or disharmony, energy function in two characteristics that we can say masculine or feminine, as do not have to do anything with gender. It do not have to do with gender. Oh guys, you guys can correct me. That's okay. It's more about the yin and yang. The energy will pulse like a star and expand and be in the same multiplicity, or it will expand like in ripples. And in those ripples, sometimes a spiral, sometimes in a wave, sometimes it mix, it pulsate and then a spiral or wave. When the energy pulsate, it do not form codes, right? It's just an impulse, it's just the intention. The code will come when the energy will wave, and that wave is a result of your intention with what is around you. Going back to me entering into a Christian church, I am the intention. And the harmony of this harmony of my pattern is the reaction that they have to me, and my reaction because of what they perceive from me, if that makes sense. It's a combination of both, and that predominant energy will determine if when I enter into a place I said, oh, that's heavy, or it feels so good. Has it happened to you that you enter into a house of a friend or someone and then it feels so good to enter, and then sometimes you enter into a house and it's just like you just want to go because the energy is thick? That energy, maybe you said it wasn't me, it was just the energy of the house. It becomes you when you look at it. It becomes you when you are aware of it. It becomes yours when you can feel it. It's a mix. It's not your responsibility, but by being aware of, you match the frequency, that will mean something. If the energy of the house, let me say that someone were fighting and then I enter and then I feel the darkness, as soon as I leave, I clear myself and then that's it. It's not my responsibility anymore. But when I enter in contact with those frequencies, I am partially responsible to decide how I want to react and, most importantly, what I want to do about it. Yes, so energy behave. Energy can have harmony or disharmony, and the intention will pulsate, and the expansion, that is the divine feminine, will create the pattern. So light codes come from divine feminine, because divine feminine is the field in which divine masculine can explore its own intention. For example, if we go into a creation of a baby, that divine masculine, it's the seed that cannot seed anything if it doesn't have the body that can create the baby. But divine feminine will do all S. Will do the baby for 9 months, will take care of the 9 months, and then after the baby is born, then that's another story. So codes come from that divine feminine that carries the baby and perceive that experience as harmony or disharmony. So if you have a mana symbol, that's not a light code, that's just a code. A light code will always be a pattern that it's above the ordinary, that it is a higher state of consciousness that will inspire a code to bypass the mind and re-educate the vibration into higher efficiency. When you see a code like this, maybe you don't understand anything, and that's okay, but your energy will understand something. For example, this is called expression, right? When I drew this, I saw someone laughing, and the code that the person, the predominantly code that I could zone the energy about that person that was laughing and being a joy, it was something like that. So if you memorize it and you don't know exactly why the dots and why those lines, it doesn't matter, because your energy will recognize it. I hope that makes sense. The fact that it will be Pleiadian or Syrian or from angels, that will be according to what you predominantly sense of the energy, and that will be your practice. Do you guys have questions? Or do you want me to keep going? Because I think I can talk for hours about this, because it just excites me. So just to summarize, let me drink my coffee. If I don't drink coffee, I mix coffee with green tea. I learned that in China. They call it China coffee. No, Hong Kong coffee, I think. Also good. I love it. And I always add codes to my things. Codes don't have to be perfect, right? Look into my water. It's super easy, and it will transform the energy of what it is. Just to summarize, what are codes? Codes are thought forms that are animated by our divinity. These codes are emanated by the higher aspects of yourself, and it's where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Something that I'm seeing right now, guys, it's, I have my notes here. We don't have guides anymore, like for example, my guide Marie, my guide Giancarlos, my fairy. We have, this is something that is just new for me. So I just close my eyes so I can just see it in the best way to understand it. We have a spirit guide line of support, that the guides that you have, it's mainly like your higher self, and like one guide that can be anything along with higher self, like fairy, an angel, or anything, masculine or female, that is always the you. Some people normally can have 3 or 4 of these, and then you have a spirit guide system that can be any other soul fragment that you have. So your Pleiadian will come through that, and maybe you're Lemurian, and maybe you're Atlantean, and maybe you were an alchemist in the 1500, and maybe that person will come to teach you something into a dream. But also you go and you can also go and be a guide for every other aspect of you that is in a lower frequency than the one you have, and that you can be at support. I just wanted to say that. Let me see if you guys have questions. Okay. Okay. If anyone would like to help me to manage a group on Telegram, we can do that if you guys think that's a good idea. So, what is a thought form? A thought form is an energy in motion that will be the result of the vibration from the frequency that gathers a wave of frequency that create a pattern. In other words, your intention will have a vibration, that stream, and then a frequency that will create a pattern that reorganizes itself into a higher state that is highly evolved and pure in its own core. Annie Besant is a person that I recommend you guys to read. I am doing this audiobook of her that it's on YouTube. I will add the link on the Google document that you'll have. And this is a quote from her. Every thought gives rise to a set of correlated vibrations in the matter of this body, accompanied with a marvelous play of color. And that is the aura. We are normally not aware about what we are in our core, neither remember it. So in the other classes, I'm going to add the information and then how you guys can play with it. We're gonna do that on the next class. So at the prime level, your mindset will be the one that programs what you stream. For example, if I grew hips when I was 14, why I cannot grow any other part of my body, like more teeth or another arm or something? And it's because my programming says that I can. But I think we are on the edge that we can change the programming so we can just regenerate our body in whatever way we want to. And I think we're going to see that in this lifetime. Probably in 10 years or in 20 years, no one will age anymore or die for cancer or diabetes or anything. I think the health system is the first, well, I think the economy and the health system, probably all of the systems are crumbling right now. And we're gonna see that probably in the next decade. But for sure, in the following decade, we will eradicate, I think, hopefully in the whole world, disease. Because of all the changes that we're doing. I know that when we see the news can be scary because a lot of things seem all at once, but we are capable and I think we're ready to make the changes in a way that we have a new harmony on earth. Going back to the course. And I'm gonna go into my notes. The mindset will be limited to the astral plane. The astral plane in theology, it is all the conditions that surrounds you and are generated by the mind under the dominion of the animal nature. In theology, I have written about theology. I have written theology lately. The animal plane, the animal nature is your desires. For example, maybe someone can say, I desire to have a romantic partner. That's the first intention. But then maybe in the astral plane, the conditions around will set, because I have heard this on the sessions. But I always manifest narcissistic. Or I am too old for this. No, no one is too old. My mom had a boyfriend. She manifested a boyfriend at 71, and now she's doing all the legal things so they can get married. They both have 71. Probably he's 70. And it's excited to see that impossible doesn't exist. Because I don't think it's something that my mom have wanted to manifest it. We have talked about it, and then my mom says, Gretel, do you think I met my soulmate in this lifetime? And I said, I don't think so, Mom. And then she said, well, it will be in the next one. So it was something that happens out of the blue. And this is another form of manifestations. When thought forms in the astral plane are predominant to create a condition that you haven't asked for, that you don't know you can manifest, that can be instantly manifested. And this is how fifth dimension functions. I know when I am in my fifth dimensional energy, because life doesn't feel like it's struggling, doesn't feel like suffering. Things come and go, but it's all what is needed in the moment. Like I sort of have always a solution. If I pay someone, pay. Like I always have, and it's all moving, but it's all easy. And then I was like, oh, that's good. So it's not that things that happen to you, is that you see that you are supported all the times by the energy that is around you. And sometimes you were not aware that you needed that. But then it's like the universe say, hey, there you go. And then you say, okay, then I take it. So your intention manifests, and then that is limited or supported by the conditions that surrounds you, that in theology is called the astral plane. But you can also manifest because the conditions that surround says that should be experienced. Like for example, you and I maybe didn't want to manifest COVID, but the conditions around says that we all needed to do so. And the benefits that I have seen in my life and in the life of my kids, it is that we're more aware about our bodies, our diet, we're more conscious about how to take care of ourselves. That is a positive thing. Also in quarter frequency, I stopped working on the office that I was working. So I see now that, oh, it was a good thing. But I didn't know it was going to be a good thing. It was scary at the beginning. So, false codes. What are false codes? False codes are attachments. And I'm going to write right here what I have, because it's more structured than my spoken box. These chords, I'm going to structure again. I'm channeling to a deeper layer. And when I channel to a deeper layer, I don't want to speak for some reason. I'm working on it. So let me just breathe. Okay, false codes. False codes are born from distortion. Thought forms that come from desire, lower passion, or lower emotion. For example, a false code will be a code that is not coherent, it's not on synergy, it doesn't have neutrality. For example, a pattern that is born from judgment, from critique, from envy, competition. So if you catch yourself having envy or competition or comparison, like, oh my God, I want to have do that too. Like someone is getting married, they're like, oh my God, I want to marry to you, or I want to have that body, or I want to be that famous, or why is that happening to me, or any of those things. Clear it. And then, for example, envy can be transformed into admiration. For example, competition or comparison can be formed into, I admire that person because it has what I would like to have. So maybe I can learn what that person is doing so I can do that too. If you need to forgive, you're resentful, you hate, you're angry, you have to find the emotion that will be the positive that can substitute that. Because if you don't clear those things from yourself, honoring your shadow and what you feel, but at the same time addressing it, that energy bounces back and forth like a rubber band. But for example, sometimes in magic, they thought that if someone will do harm to you, you will send that harm back. And there is a rune for that. There is a rune that I don't remember which it is, that if someone do evil to you, you send that back. If you send that back, you got dirty too, because your karma, it is, you didn't address it. If someone sends something evil to you, envy or witchcraft or whatever, and you feel impacted, it's because someone into you was lower, that you match that. Someone called to you and you answer, right? And maybe the person said, you're a bitch. And then instead of you hanging out and being in your neutrality, you said, you're a bitch too. So if you engage with that, then you acquire that karma into you, and then the energy is going back and forth. So instead of releasing it or sending that back, address it, transform it by saying, for example, why do I need to experience that? What I am learning. For example, I do have a client with a project that has been very hard to fulfill. It's a very specific project for something very specific that I haven't been able to figure out the way that my client wants to. And I have been doing those codes over and over and over and over and over. And every time my client sends a message, it's all encoded with, I want you to finish. And when I see the energy, my first reaction is just like, oh, I don't want to read it. So a week ago, I said, okay, I want to conclude this with what I am learning. I was asking to my higher self what I am learning from this, because I can feel the it's not like a tag, but I feel like as if my client don't trust I can do it, right? Or have hope, or they're just like annoyed or whatever. And that doesn't help me to do it in the way it should be do it, because I feel the darkness, and then I guess, being honest, I feel like rejected or judged or something, and then I just like don't want to do it too, if that makes sense. This is a false good, a false attachment. So I asked my higher self, okay, do I give the money back? Because I want to give the money back, and said, you know what, this is it, let's just cancel the contract. But in my guidance says that I have the capacity to finish it. And I think I am hopefully 60% completion. It's a big project and things are good right now. But a week ago, I needed to be honest with me and say, I understand why the of my client, and I understand why my client, it was just like, maybe she won't do it the way, and it's because I took too long. But I took too long because I need to practice, because it's something that I'm not used to, it's out of my comfort zone. But my client doesn't understand what I need to do. My client does understand what he asked for and the way that it was agreed at the beginning. So I say, from his perspective, I am wrong, so I have to redeem myself. And then said, if I have the situation manifested, it's because I will be able to figure out, yes, it's a karma for another lifetimes, and we're soulmates and blah, 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 all that's true, but in a way that's irrelevant, because the solution should be done in this form. So I dedicated the weekend just to work on it, but I needed to shift my mindset into I can do it. Even though the conditions may not be supporting me, from the other perspective are supporting me to say, yes, I can, and I will figure out, even if I have to do it over and over and over and over. So you will always find another perspective that will rectify that false code, if that makes sense. You and I are always meant to be responsible for the energy we put into something, and then if someone and being a bad business, then rectify it into the best that you can. Because maybe the highest outcome it was I won't do that anymore, or maybe the highest outcome was to change some attitude or some behavior or something in yourself. Even if you said, it's because the other person is blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's true. But what do you learn on your end? So, a thought form that has the characteristics of a negative or a positive will produce a double effect, irradiating vibration that go back and forth. The negative it is when it's again the conditions, and the positive it is that it's supported by the conditions. If I get upset because someone is being mean with me and I defend myself, maybe that is a positive thing, and maybe that is my balance. If my balance is maybe eating meat or having a beer because I will relax, I'm just giving random examples. Balance is not something that you do, it's what will be coherence and harmony on the conditions that are supporting your own equilibrium or are against your own equilibrium. I use oil and I think I'm putting too much. I have a running nose. These codes, guys, will activate your third eye. I would prefer that we're a little bit more advanced to have the session with you guys, but connect with me and let me know, and then we go with the flow to add a hold on.